nominate Honorable Tajudeen Abbas.
I so second.
I rise to humbly accept the nomination.
Is hereby declared the winner and returned elected as the Speaker of the House of Representatives.
Speaker Abbas Tajudeen appreciates President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on GCON conferment. Says the action restores the constitutional parity between both chambers of the National Assembly.
Besides being patriotic, you have to imbibe the culture of hard work.
And Speaker of the House of Representatives takes school children through the values of unity, hard work and patriotism at birthday anniversary lecture. A warm welcome to House Tickets, bringing you a summary of weekly activities of the House of Representatives sitting in the nation's capital, Abuja. In this episode of the program, we'll review some of the matters of urgent public importance, substantive motions, as well as bills at different stages of consideration by the House in the first week of October 2024. Still on House Tickets, the Speaker of the House, Rt.Hon. Abbas Tajudeen, celebrates his 59th birthday with young children and speaking to them on the government commitment to prioritize quality assurance in public schools in the country, amongst other issues. Stay tuned for all of these and more after the break. Don't go away.
Hi, Abbas Tajudeen. The House will pay priority attention to participatory budgeting process and delivery, law reform, electoral reform, women's participation and inclusion in governance, among others.
Thanks for staying tuned. The House of Representatives has expressed its gratitude to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for addressing a significant historical oversight by conferring the Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger, GCON, on the Speaker of the House, Rt.Hon. Abbas Tajudeen. In response to this decision, Speaker Abbas praised the President's commitment to justice and fairness. The correction addresses the previous misperception that the House of Representatives was subordinate to the Senate, despite the Constitution clearly stipulating both chambers as co-equal in legislative authority. Speaker Abbas also extended his congratulations to the 10th House of Representatives for their unity and resolve in ensuring this important rectification. He commended members of the House for their steadfast commitment to defending the constitutional standing of the House and for their collective efforts in achieving this historic correction. The House had, through a motion last week, called the attention of the general public to the fact that the Senate and the House are equal partners in the legislative arm of government and that this should be recognized by all government institutions, formal communications as well as the media. It had debated the matter extensively during plenary and reached a resolution mandating relevant committees to liaise with the presidency to ensure the Honorable Speaker is conferred with the National Award of GCON to eliminate any form of disparity, a resolution which has yielded the desired outcome. Let us get details of other events at plenary in our first segment of the program. The report is compiled and presented from the studios.
On Thursday, 3rd October 2024, there was a communication from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu titled, transmission of fiscal policies and tax reform bills for the Federal Inland Revenue Service for the kind consideration and approval of the House of Representatives. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu stated that the 4 bills will help actualize government's desire for a proper tax and financial regime for Nigeria.
The proposed tax bills present substantial benefits that align with my government's objectives and fiscal reform and economic growth by enhancing taxpayer compliance, strengthening our fiscal institutions, and fostering a more effective and transparent fiscal regime. In this way, I'm confident that these bills, once passed into law, will encourage investment, boost consumer spending, and stimulate the economy.
On motions, Representative Abdulsamad Dasuki, under matters of urgent public importance, moved a motion on the devastation caused by flood in some communities in Kebbi Tambuwal Federal Constituency of Sokoto State.
Severe flooding has ravaged part of my constituency, which is Kebbi Tambuwal Federal Constituency, particularly impacting the communities of Girkau, Margai, Sanyina, Dogondaji, Rara, Faku, Nasagudu, Kuchi, and part of Tambuwal. The flooding has displaced thousands of residents, destroyed homes, farmlands, and critical infrastructure, including the bridge on the Jega-Kontagora Highway between Kuchi and Rara communities. Cutting off a key access route connecting Sokoto, Kebbi, and Niger states. Thousands of hectares of land and farmlands have been washed away, compounding the economic damage. The House concerned that the flooding has not only displaced families and destroyed farmland, but it has also severely impacted transportation and connectivity.
In his prayers, the lawmaker called for medical and aid relief as well as infrastructural rehabilitation in the area. He further called on the National Emergency Management Agency, the Ministry of Works, and that on Water Resources to ensure that relief and medical supplies are sent to the victims and repairs are also duly carried out. He also called on the House Committee on Works as well as that on Disaster Preparedness to ensure compliance. The motion was voted on, adopted, and referred to the House Committee on Works as well as that on Water Resources.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. That is it.
On motions on the order paper, Representative Mohamed Dang Abashehu moved a motion on need to dredge major dams and rivers to avert floods across the Federation. The lawmaker noted that dredging of major dams and rivers in the country is essential to reduce the incidence of floods ravaging farmers' crops, adding that the government's negligence in supporting farmers' efforts to address flooding has hindered the implementation of an adequate action plan, which would enhance drainage system mechanisms to control flooding in the country.
Further aware that statistics from the National Bureau of Statistics reveal that 2018 and 2019 flood-destroyed crop was over 756 billion naira and 1 trillion respectively, thus affecting over 80% farmers. Cognizant that government intervention in dam and rivers drainage have injected lost resources into the economy for economic growth and development in the country. Also, cognizant that dredging of major dams and rivers in Nigeria will prevent flood disaster, protect lives and properties, and promote sustainable water resources management, aimed to enhance water storage capacity and recirculation.
The House then resolved to urge the Federal Ministries of Water Resources and Environment to direct the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency to evaluate the framework drainage control system to actualize the desired results. Urge the government through the Federal Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation to commence drainage of the country's major dams and rivers to prevent excessive floods ravaging lives and properties of the citizens, and mandate the Committees on Water Resources, Environment, and Agricultural Production and Services to collaborate with the Honorable Ministers of Water Resources and Agriculture and Food Security to propose solutions to this menace and report back within 4 weeks for further legislative action. Several lawmakers proposed amendments to the resolutions.
Suggesting that Committee of National Planning and then our appropriation should be involved alongside the Committee of Water.
Committee on Appropriation and what?
And Planning, sir. and planning. Yes, sir.
I think event has taken over this particular motion. If you listen to the president's speech on the 1st, he said he has already instructed that they conduct integrity tests on all the dams in Nigeria.
I don't think we need to step down the motion simply because of the pronouncement of Mr. President. We can also go ahead and look into the matter and give additional support and encouragement to the executive to execute.
Mind you, there are rivers that belong to states and there are rivers that belong to the federal government. And that's one of the contentions even within the Constitution. Rivers that traverses 2 states are within the jurisdictions of federal government. But rivers that are within state, the federal government has no jurisdiction over that. So we need to be careful if we need to work on this prayer too. On maintaining what you have written, drainage of the rivers, which from what Honorable Sada said falls within the purview of the states. Are you okay with it?
Yes, I'm okay, Mr. Speaker.
Those in support of this amendment should say aye.
The motion was voted on, adopted as amended, and referred to the House Committee on Appropriations, Planning, Environment, Agricultural Services, as well as that on Water Resources.
Ayes have it.
Another motion that was adopted was on the need to rehabilitate the Nazi Obibiezena and Emiabiam roads to boost agriculture in Owerri Federal Constituency. It was moved by Representative Tochukwu Chinedu Okere.
The House is also concerned that Nazi Obibiezena and Emiabiam roads, being the link leading to communities, stretches over 50 kilometers to Eche River State and can serve as a bypass from Owerri to Port Harcourt, avoiding heavy traffic from Owerri Port Harcourt Expressway.
Did you permit anyone else?
While people coming from Okigwe, Aba, and Omahia can also find the road useful and faster, as the people coming from Imo State Airport have to pass through the heavy traffic of Owerri Port Harcourt Expressway.
The resolutions on the motion urged the Federal Ministry of Works through its road intervention project to include Nazi Obibiezena and Emiabiam Road as one of the roads that need the federal government intervention. Mandate the Committee on Works to visit the Nazi Obibiezena and Emiabiam roads to further ascertain the extent of damage on the roads and report back within 4 weeks for further legislative action, and also mandate the Committees on Works and Federal Roads Maintenance Agency FEMA to ensure compliance.
Mr. Speaker, I want to appreciate the mover of the motion, whose intention is to bring SUCO and then development to his own constituency. However, prayer 2, sir, is a function of the executive. I know it's going to add more burden for you. Prayer 1 and 2 are very apt. It has solved every problem. I think what Orabuase is saying is something that should guide us in the future to try as much as possible to give the executive the responsibilities that is supposed to be discharged by them.
The motion was amended and referred to the House Committee on Works as well as that on Federal Road Maintenance Agency.
Ayes have it.
Moving on to bills at second reading, a bill for an act to establish Ibile Entrepreneur University, Lagos, and make comprehensive provisions for its due management and administration and for related matters was read for the second time. The bill was sponsored by Representative Babajimi Benson and co-sponsored by Representative Kalejaye Adeboye. Representative Babajimi Benson led the debate.
The bill for an act to establish the Ibile Entrepreneur University be read a second time. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
The bill was voted on, approved, and referred to the House Committee on University Education.
Those against should say nay. That is have it.
Still at second reading was a bill titled A Bill for an Act to Provide for the Establishment of the National Institute for Technical and Vocational Education, Wamba, Nasarawa State, and for related matters. It was sponsored by Representative Jeremiah Umaru.
A bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the National Institute for Technical and Vocational Education, Wamba, Nasarawa State, be read for the second time. I so move, Your Excellency, sir.
The bill received unanimous vote and was referred to the House Committee on Federal Polytechnics and Other Higher Institutions.
Those against should say nay. That is have it.
Meanwhile, 20 bills were presented for the first time last week. They include Petroleum Technology Development Fund Act Amendment Bill 2024, sponsored by Representative Mitema Obodo, Federal Vocational and Entrepreneurship Training Center, Shere, Plateau State, Establishment Bill 2024, sponsored by Representative Alfred Ajang Ilya. Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 6th Alteration Bill 2024, sponsored by Representative Mansur Manusoro and Representative Fatima Talba. Meanwhile, Wednesday, 2nd October 2024, Speaker Abbas Tajudeen announced the defection of Representative Chris Nkwonta, representing Ukwa East, Ukwa West Federal Constituency of Abia State, from the People's Democratic Party (PDP) to the All Progressives Congress (APC). Following the announcement of the defection, the Speaker also announced leadership of some committees of the House to fill available vacancies. They include Committee on Northwest Development Commission to be chaired by Representative Suleiman Abubakar Gumi, Committee on Southeast Development Commission to be chaired by Representative Chris Nkwonta, Committee on Sports to be chaired by Representative Kabiru Ahmadu May Palace, Committee on Livestock Development to be chaired by Representative Wale Tasir Raji.
If you just joined us, you're on to House Tickets, your window into the workings of the House of Representatives. We took a summary of plenary activities last week, where several matters of urgent public importance, motions as well as bills were referred to relevant committees for more legislative inputs. As part of activities marking Nigeria's 64th independence anniversary and its 59th birthday, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Abbas Tajudeen, on Tuesday, 1st October 2024, reached out to some internally displaced persons at Kabusa community in the Federal Capital Territory. The Speaker, who led a delegation comprising the Deputy Speaker, Right Honorable Benjamin Okeze Kalu, Chief Whip, Representative Usman Bello Kumo, and other members of the House to the IDP's camp, said he was moved by their plight. He gave out a total of 1,000 bags of 10 kg rice, 200 cartons of noodles, over 800 pieces of wrappers for men and women, as well as bed sheets. He was supported by the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons (NCFRMI) and the National Emergency Management Agency (NEMA). In addition to the items the Speaker gave out, he also at the humanitarian ceremony provided free medical services for IDPs with certain ailments. Meanwhile, Speaker Abbas had earlier on the same day hosted students from 6 public secondary schools in the FCT for an interaction, where he responded to questions from the students. At the interaction, which lasted for over an hour, the Speaker said for Nigeria's education sector to return to its glory days, adequate supervision and quality assurance in public schools must be prioritized by those tasked with the duties of running the sector. He decried the largely unregulated and proliferation of private schools, which he said had led to an unacceptable decay in public schools across the country. The Speaker advised the students to imbibe the culture of hard work, which is an aspect of patriotism, saying that though their generation has access to smart ways of doing things, that has also made them to cultivate the habit of following shortcuts to success.
And for you to be responsible citizens, besides being patriotic, you have to imbibe the culture of hard work. The culture of hard work. What I see in the younger generation these days is God has made you very smart. You are very, very smart people. You are very, very smart people. You are very intelligent. You are very creative. But one thing that is lacking fundamentally is that you believe in shortcuts. That is not a good virtue. We need to actually be thorough, and we need to be disciplined in following processes. Without processes being followed, we'll be able to go far. I believe you can do it.
Speaker Abbas also harped on the importance of believing in oneself, recalling how he became self-reliant at a very young age after his secondary school education to becoming a teacher, up to the point where he became a homeowner at 19.
Because I was trained to be a teacher from the day I finished my secondary school. That time, things were easy in Nigeria. So I started teaching right from the day I finished my secondary school. And that was the very last day my parents ever knew my problems financially. By the time I reached the age of 19, I was already a homeowner. A homeowner at 19. I built my own house based on my own sweat. Never needed one single contribution from any member of my family. Believing that I can do it for myself.
Also stressing the importance of unity in diversity, Speaker Abbas urged the students to love their country as they love themselves, saying the concept of loving one's neighbor as oneself eschews any element of ethnicity, tribalism, and religious sentiment. The students were drawn from public secondary schools in the 6 area councils of the FCT. They made various presentations, including technological innovations as birthday gifts to the speaker.
We are saying well done, our gift, able to power this bulb of 60 watts.
Some of the students also made presentations on the topic Nigeria, the National Assembly, and the state of education, as well as a presentation on the life of a Nigerian child.
About 10.5 million children are not in school today, especially when primary education are officially free and compulsory. This will lead me to say that the state of education in Nigeria is poor. Let's look at the factors that contribute to the state of education in Nigeria. 1, poor infrastructure. 2, inadequate classroom. 3, lack of proper funding for education.
We all know that as a child we live life and we don't worry why. As we grow it gets tougher, but we don't want to try. Memories that feel as if they occurred yesterday just turn into flashes of moments that seems to fade away. The people we once knew just walk by without a clue. The times we once shared exist as if we were never there. Years fly, friends die, and we never know when we will say our last goodbye.
The speaker, who was accompanied by his wife, Hajia Fatima Abbas Tajudeen, presented gifts to the students as well. Also present at the event was the Deputy Speaker of the House, Right Honorable Benjamin Okeze Kalu, some of the principal officers, as well as members of the 10th House, amongst many others. The event also featured the cutting of the anniversary cake.
Right, easy. Nigeria.
A cross-section of journalists spoke with the speaker after the event.
The invitation of the children to come to the National Assembly is one way of saying that they are the future of Nigeria. Nigeria has spent 64 years so far, but we have a young population that can be encouraged to correct the mistakes of the past and make Nigeria better than it is today.
Many thanks for watching House Ticket. As always, you can catch up on past episodes of the program on any of our social media handles showing on your screen. You can also direct your comments, observations, and questions regarding the workings of the legislature, and on our part, we will do our best to get our representatives address them accordingly. House Ticket will continue to keep you up to speed on activities and events of your lawmakers in subsequent packages of the program. Until I come your way again, do stay safe.